Hey, Megamaniacs, welcome back to Homebrew Review, and I'm your host, Mr. MegaManFan. Like, share, subscribe, comment, you know all the things to do, and now we're going to talk about Action 53, Volume 4, actually 54. That's a mouthful, I know, but the first thing you should be aware of is a reference to the infamous Action 52 cartridge, which you've probably heard about or seen a video from AVGN about, among many other people. It's well known for having a crap load of games, and they're all pretty bad because they were hiring newfound programmers, basically kids straight out of high school or starting college who had almost no experience, giving them an NES dev kit, throwing them in a room and saying, make a bunch of games. We don't care how good they are. We're going to put them all on this cartridge, and then we're going to sell it to people for a couple $100 because they can go, wow, I'm getting 52 games for $4 each, and that's less than I would pay for one game from somebody else. And they figured this would be a big hit with rental stores as well, that they would want to carry the Action 52 because everybody would rent one cartridge that had 52 games on it, right? Wrong. The games were so bad nobody wanted it. It flopped miserably, which actually makes it, ironically enough, a collector's item now. It's worth a lot of money depending on what version of it you have and how complete it is, but if you have any legitimate Action 52, it has become highly sought after, which is why this is called Action 53. Now, I intended to go through all the different homebrew games that they put on the Action 53 Volume 4, but I ended up becoming so invested in one particular game, Jammin, that was all I played in this video, so I'm going to have to come back to it in a future video. But I'm going to tell you about Action 53 Volume 4 and how you can play it yourself, and then I'll talk a little bit about Jammin. The first and possibly best news about Action 53 is that it's absolutely free. They aren't charging for it. These are just a bunch of programmers who wanted to get their works out to the world and let you have fun with them. Some of them are works in progress, may or may not have whatever degree of completion, so that's why Volume 4, because they've revised this over the years, and each time they revise it, they release it on itch.io. You can find Action 53 Volume 4 at, appropriately enough, action53.itch.io/VOL4. And like I said, it's free, so go ahead and download it at your pleasure, leisure, discretion, use protection. I don't know, I'm just freestyling here, but my point being, you can get it right now or whenever you want. As long as the site stays up, it's going to be there. Might even get cloned to other sites since it's free. That's none of my business. What is my business is the fact that you might want to play this on authentic hardware, and in that case, you're going to want to put it on an EverDrive N8 Pro, which is what I've done here. The file size is going to be too large for certain EverDrives. It may or may not be compatible with them. It does work on the N8 Pro, though, which is not a surprise since that can handle big file size games like Mega Man 4 minus Infinity, so it doesn't have any problem with Action 53 Volume 4. I did try running this on my MacBook using OpenEMU, and whatever mappers or the file size or both, it's not supported. I wanted to capture the footage directly from my computer, and I couldn't do that, so we are capturing it with a camera on a tripod, playing it on the N8 Pro through the analog mini NT Noir. Now, why did I get obsessed with Jammin? Well, for me, the play mechanics of this game took me back to a time when the only console I had was a Commodore 64 computer with floppy disks and a joystick, and I would play games like Jumpman Jr. This one is clearly inspired by that, but riffs on it in its own way, pun very much intended, because your protagonist is a guitar player who is jamming out the tunes, but somehow lost the notes to their songs and has to go around the level collecting them all. And sometimes, if you don't collect the right notes, then the ladders won't appear that get you to the other notes, so some strategy is definitely required for beating each level. Everything is on one screen at a time. You're not scrolling from one area to the next, but It's not so simple just because you can see everything you need. You've got to get some things in the order in which it allows you to proceed. And as you go further into Jammin' Honey, more things get in your way. Some of the monsters that just waddle back and forth start shooting projectiles at you. So you have to jump over the projectiles they fire when they see you, or shoot them with a blast from your guitar when they can't see you, because you can stun them temporarily with your guitar. Or if you pick up a star, which presumably makes you a rock star, your guitar blasts get extra power and the music speeds up, and you can actually take out the monsters completely instead of just stunning them. But it runs out very quickly, so you've got to move fast while you have that limited power up. And you only get one. I've never seen 2 stars in a level, so use it wisely while you have it. And to make matters even more complicated, in later levels, birds start wandering around on the platforms, and some of them will drop eggs on you from above, so if you're standing under them and they stop, look out, because you can get conked in the head. And there will be ones that fly across the screen, and when they come onto your path, just like Jumpman Jr., when you're on the same horizontal axis as they are, they immediately make a beeline for you, so you've got to jump over them. So there quickly becomes a lot to juggle in the game. It's deceivingly simple at first, and it gradually eases you in, which is what great game design should do. So let's give some credit where it's due to the developer of Jammin' Honey, and I'm going to look up that name right now on the Action 53 page. There are so many developers, it may take me a minute to find it, because there are literally 53 plus 1 games, 54 in total. Looks like Jammin' Honey was made by Doug Fraker with help from Estlib, Estlib. So, Doug Fraker, I commend you for very good design. You make it easy to get into, but increasingly harder to play, which is the best kind of design in my view, because then as you get better and the challenge increases, it makes you want to keep playing and keep going and try to get even further and complete more levels, all while getting in the zone. You know what the zone is like if you're a gamer, where you just start to feel everything moving around you and react instinctively to it instead of having to plan out what you're doing by hitting the controller. You just automatically do it. Your buttons, your presses of your buttons are in sync with your gameplay, with your mind, and you don't even realize what you're doing. It just happens fluidly. Great games really give you that immersion, that total sense that you're involved in it and you're not even reacting to it, you're participating with it. It's any kind of game can give you that feeling of being in the zone. A Halo game can give it to you. A Super Mario game can give that to you. A Sonic the Hedgehog game can give that to you. A Forza game can give that to you. Whenever you just lose yourself and forget that you're playing a video game and your hand and your mind are in concert with the controller, with what you're seeing on the screen. The only thing that would be more immersive would be wearing a VR helmet. But I don't know if that's actually immersive when you have a big thing on your head and big gloves on your hands, or you're holding move sticks and swinging them around, trying to make what you're seeing through the helmet or the goggles react to what you're doing. Is that immersive? I think true immersion would be if you didn't even know it was there and you didn't have anything in your hands and everything you were doing was just like a holodeck in Star Trek. You know, you would just, whatever happened would happen without you having to do something to make it happen. Hi, Tango. He's wanting to comment on Jammin' Honey as well, and I don't blame him, because I spent a good 10-15 minutes playing it for the video and could have played it some more. But I decided when I ran out of lives the first time, that would be a good time to stop the video, talk about Action 53 and Jammin' Honey, and create a save state so I could come back and beat my high score at a later date. Which is one thing I don't remember if I could actually do with Jumpman Jr. on the Commodore 64, was create a save state I don't think I could. I think whatever my high score was, I just had to write it down and then boot up the floppy disk and play it again later. So, what's the bottom line on Jammin' Honey? Well, it may not be the most sophisticated looking game you'll ever play, but this is one of those cases where gameplay trumps graphics because it is so much fun to play that the simplicity is actually part of the charm as opposed to a deficit. And it's got a really nice soundtrack to it too, so I can't say that it's not well designed. It's just designed with a homebrew aesthetic, for lack of a better term, designed within the limitations of the NES hardware and within the limitations of what you can code if you're a homebrew developer. So I recommend it. In fact, I recommend this whole compilation not only because it's free, but because these are people who put their heart and soul into making something fun to play. And it's a work in progress, so it'll only get better over time. Play Jammin' Honey. Tell me what you think. I'm Mr. MegaManFan for myself and Tango. This has been Homebrew Review, and if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel and come back for new content each and every day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon in another video. But goodbye for now.